Welcome, everybody, to the greatest show where I get to show up the greatest people like Dr. Anthony and have way too much fun doing it. Thank you, Dr. Anthony Mattis, for being here. I'm so grateful.
Thanks for having me. I like the jams in the beginning. It was awesome. It's hard not
Right?
to like.
Bumps you up.
Yeah, I was doing some bear dancing. You know what I mean?
I was watching. I could see you.
Yeah.
It was good.
That's awesome.
People are missing out.
Yeah.
So today I'm actually really excited to be talking about this rather than all the I can'ts in the world. Today we're talking actually about accessing possibilities. And
cool.
Yeah, and some of the main conversations.
No, you don't want it to be this. We're not doing this today.
Yes. No, we're not doing it today.
Woo!
That's an exact example of what we're not doing today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we're clear.
Just so we're clear and everyone's clear who's watching us. And thank you everyone who's joining. Okay, so I actually had a lot of fun going through your website and reading up about kind of like the conversations you're having, what you're talking about. And I wondered if we could start with even just accessing possibility. Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, exactly. What does it mean? Well, you know, for most of my life, up until about a few years ago, for most of my life, it was just really just hanging on to hope at first. You know what I mean? It was like, because, you know, I had the point of view for the majority of my life that I was like, man, I was just fighting to be mediocre. I was just fighting for just to have a normal average in real life. And even that was a struggle. And I wanted the postage stamp life, to be honest with you. I wanted to have that nuclear family, you know, the wife and the kids and the dog and the fence, because I didn't really have that growing up, you know. And so I worked my ass off to try to create that. And, you know, I wanted to be healed. But there was always this shit was always happening. But I always knew somewhere there was always hope, no matter what kind of crappy situation that I kept finding myself in over and over and over again. And realizing how much of that I created myself, but there was always this glimmer of hope that always stayed within my world. You know, it's like I never gave up. So there was just that glimmer of hope. And then really when Access Consciousness came along and I started finally using the tools after using a gazillion million other different tools, I started to become aware that you could actually have more than just that normal average in real existence. You could actually have, like, possibilities are infinite. And there were things that I was starting to become aware of that were available to me that I didn't even know I had access to. You know what I mean? Because like I said, it's like, because then I finally got to the normal average in real life and I'm like, wait a minute, but I've experienced so much greatness and all this other yummy, delicious stuff. And I'm like, what's showing up right now doesn't even compare to everything that has shown up. And it's like, truly, now what else is possible beyond anything that I ever thought was possible? So that's sort of like kind of what happened. And I was like, I kind of almost felt like I was going to die because I'm like, wait, everything's showing up that I've been working my ass off for. It's all here. And now I'm like, am I going to die tomorrow? Because I've finished it. I accomplished it. And I realized, like, but this isn't enough. And it's not about material stuff. It's not about any of that. It's about like having things in your life that are showing up that match the energy of like what you know is possible. But I didn't even know those things were possible until they became available to me. And that was really through the tools of Access Consciousness.
Wow. So I think a lot of people could see that in their own lives where they're fighting for whatever their mediocre is. Like, so, okay. So you said you didn't even know that there were possibilities until you started to explore this and access it.
Well, you know, I would look at people's lives and I'd be like, man, you know, it's like say like they're super wealthy and whatever, and they, and I'm like, that's fine, that's cool. But if I could have at least this over here, I'm okay. I don't need to have that. If I could just have this, and this wasn't really asking for much. And then it's like, and I was like, well, I'm working my ass off just to have this piece here. And it was like, a wife commits suicide. She has mental illness. I'm in one bad relationship after another. Never really choosing people who actually had my back, staying in relationship longer than I should have, struggled in school, struggled in business. It was like constant, and a lot of abuse growing up. And it's like, man, oh man. And then when I finally got to the point where it was like, wow, it doesn't have to be that way. And then I was like, really, anything is possible. And then I started creating the life that I have now. And what I've learned is like, it really, truly, you hear about infinite possibilities. You hear about that, but that always felt like it was for the other person, and I can honestly tell you that there are things that are available to every single one of us out there that we don't even know that is available to us. It's just maybe like an idea, but I can tell you it's true. And you just have to keep asking, and it'll show up.
That's so exciting to even like start to wonder about, Yeah. So for you, when you couldn't, like, when you were like, I can't even achieve like 1% of what this other person has, or I can't even achieve like this basic mediocre life. Like what did you decide about yourself? Like, what did that create for you and like your self-worth?
Well, oh God, my self-worth, my God. Yeah. Great question. I had like zero like self-esteem, you know what I mean? It was, I was a relatively good looking person growing up and stuff like that. So it's, people were attracted to me. So I kind of had that going for me. I was a pretty good athlete, but but then everybody I'm not a very big person. I'm not a large man. So when people started going through puberty and all that stuff, and I was sort of like a late bloomer plus a small in stature, it's like, the sports, the athletics started sort of slipping away from me. So the one thing that gave me a little bit of confidence in myself was sort of like starting to go away. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like, I thought of myself as a dumb person. I'm like, I'm dumb, I'm short. All my friends are going to college. What am I going to do? It's like, and so I had zero self-esteem, really. I was self-conscious. I was a redhead, freckles, everything. I always found things to judge myself for. And it was just a constant battle. And so many of the choices I made along the way a lot of them were from places of insecurity. They weren't from that space of like creation. Some of it was, but a lot of it was to prove
Mm-hmm.
the system wrong, or to prove that I wasn't dumb or ugly, where none of inside of that equation was I really asking, what would I really like to create in the world? What would I like to be in the world? I mean, I knew, but I thought I had to go through a certain path. So I fought my ass off to go through that path while trying to prove everybody wrong, including myself.
Wow. Yeah.
It wasn't fun. I had no fun unless I got drunk or high, to be honest with you. Those only times I had to breathe is sex, drinking, and some party favors that I would take from time to time.
Right. Okay. So from there, and I know I'm tapping in and I'm perceiving these people that are like, oh my God, that's me, or I've experienced that. So from their perspective and from your own personal experience, are you able to access possibilities from that proving, from that fight?
Yes, but not as easily as now. Right. And so what's beautiful about like the tools of access consciousness is like, it creates a space where you start to learn how to receive, and and it also helps you to sort of acknowledge all the things that are showing up in your life. So as you acknowledge those, it sort of like starts to exponentialize. And like back in those days, it would feel like every time I would get like one foot up on the ground while the other knee was still down, and something would come along and kick me right in the nuts, you know what I mean, and knock me back down again. But with the tools of access, it's like we ask that one question, like, how does it get better than this? How does it get better than this? And how many of us have the point of views, if something good happens, like, it doesn't get better than this. This is as good as it gets. right? I mean, that's a huge point of view that people function from. Or it's like, oh man, I have enough, right? Why ask for anything more? I got everything I need, right? And so those simple little things, but for me, it was about receiving. But even during my struggles, you know, I did have people show up in my life that encouraged me, that saw my potential, and I'm grateful for them because they're the ones who kind of kept the hope going. But nothing really quite got that potential to sort of like come out. So again, there was that constant state of frustration over and over and over again. And then I just started really seeking. I was looking for that like Mr. Miyagi, you know what I mean, from the Karate Kid. I was looking for that mentor to teach me like philosophy about life and how to create and how to receive and how to have communion and oneness. So it was always like in there. I was always looking for that mentor, and I would try different things. And so when I finally went to chiropractic school and studying all these different healing techniques, you know, I was like a weirdo. Like as soon as I like got a job when I was in my early 20s, it's like I couldn't wait to go see a psychotherapist because I just wanted to go talk to somebody about all my life's problems because I wanted to like heal. I didn't want to have bitterness and resentment. I was kind of like a weird, and they loved me because I was like an open book. So I'm like, here's all my skeletons. Can you please fix me? You know what I mean? So like, I was always pressing, but nothing really changed. And then what became my drug of choice was love and romance. You know, I was looking for my worth and value with the person that I had by my side, as they were supposed to be the ones to fill that hole or in that gap. You know, so I would choose people that basically had a lot of problems, you know, that I could try to fix. And so, you know, it was just one bad choice after another, you know. But you know, out of it, I got beautiful children, 3 beautiful children, and that's something that I've always wanted to be and do. I wanted to be a dad, you know, and I wanted to be a dad, the kind of dad that I didn't have growing up, to my kids, and I've been able to do that. And now they're 20, 18, and 12, and so that's been a great joy. And but even with going through the whole tragedy and stuff like that, you would think that that's something that would knock me on my ass, and it did. But Access Consciousness came along, and it really, it was really a miracle for both myself and the children.
Yeah, and where you have become such a miracle, like one of the things I love about you, Anthony, is that you are so open with your story. You don't try and pretend to be perfect or like, you know, I've got it all figured out now, or like, I just was born this way.
Yes.
And you help like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. You facilitate classes all around the world. You address stuff with bodies and deeper, like, so you not only did that miracle come into your life, but you became a miracle for so many people.
Yeah. Thank you. And you know, that was something that was always inside of me. That was a seed that had been in me from the beginning. And I was always looking for certain vehicles in which to sort of like express that. And so, you know, one of my greatest joys, and I was going to actually ask you this question later when we play our game, but, you know, one of my greatest joys is to actually facilitate when I work with people and facilitate like to pull that greatness out of them, to get them to see their power and their potency and what their gifts and capacities are and how they could be a contribution, even if it's just in their family or, you know, let alone the rest of the world. And so to me, that's one of my greatest joys, is to help facilitate awareness in someone else that empowers them, that gets them to see the gift that they are in the world. So that it's just fun. And I thought I was able to do it through other vehicles, but not quite. And I'm able to do it with the tools that we both use with Access Consciousness, which is really cool.
That is so cool. I want to quote something. So you have so if you guys want to go see the video and check out Anthony's website, there's a link right in the description. And I was watching this video of you talking about ASB sessions, which is something that you do.
Yeah.
And I kind of pulled this quote, like it was like longer, but I narrowed it down. So you said, When someone spends their whole life trying to create something with no success or results, until you change it on an energetic and molecular level, it's always going to come back.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's basically sums up the story of my life. And
exactly.
And because I was someone that did psychotherapy, I did group therapy, I did private therapy, I read AA, Alcohol Anonymous, NA, Narcotics Anonymous. I even read Sex and Lovers Addict Anonymous. I had a guru from India. I did Christianity for 5.5 years, spoken tongues, you name it. I mean, I did it all, right? And I remember one day, it was about 9 months after my late wife passed away, the children's mom. And I'm like, man, for someone who's done everything in their power to dig up, go into their subconscious mind, to change the things that aren't working. I'm like, I have nothing to show for it. Like nothing. It's like I could have a great coffee conversation with someone, but nowhere was I like bearing the fruits of my labor, so to speak. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so I remember saying, wherever I'm messed up, wherever I'm screwed up, it's way beyond the subconscious mind, because I turned over every rock in there. There's nothing else to do. I did, rebirthing. I did past life regression. I went to psychics and, I did it, right? And there was nothing left inside of there. So I'm like, wherever it is that I'm stuck, it's got to be, and because it is energetic, because anytime I try to create, I'd feel this, boom.
Yes.
Boom, right? But it wasn't cognitive. It wasn't conscious or subconscious, because I already looked at all of that. I even did the, what the hell was that book? The Inner Child book. And it's like, see yourself as a baby, but you are the age you are now and holding yourself as a baby. I'm like, I couldn't even get past the first chapter, because I just wanted to be the dad to me when I was an infant. I was also, but I did all that stuff, right? And so I'm like, wherever I'm screwed up, it's beyond any of that. There's got to be some tool and technique that unlocks, like, it wasn't linear. I realized that wherever I'm messed up, it's not a linear thing. It's not like something I'm going to get out of psychotherapy and all those things I did, because if it did, it would have changed, right? Yeah. So what was cool about Access is, as I started going through the different classes and things of that nature, and even the very first place you start, which is called Access Bars, I started noticing things unlock, and it's hard to explain it in a very tangible way. You can't. But I started feeling like things energetically that had nothing to do with anything I was cognitively aware of. But it was like I would feel these things unlock and release in different like areas, like energetically, so to speak. I would feel things leave my body that I didn't even know that were there, right? I was like, what? I'm like, that was weird. I'm like, what was that? Because I was, even being a chiropractor and all that stuff, all the people who did the hokey pokey, the hocus pocus energy work stuff, I always thought it was those guys, right? I didn't think I was that kind of guy. But I started experiencing these releases and stuff, and then all of a sudden I just started having space and ease. And it was only like 1.5 years after the kid's mom died, I was actually kind of happy. I was like, wait, this is kind of weird. And it was like, if you were to come into my life about 1.5 years after the kid's mom died, you'd be like, wait a minute, they have a mother who committed suicide? And I'm like, oh yeah, it was just 1.5 years ago. Because we were creating our life, like something released. And it just got me excited again, because I thought I was a lost cause at that point. I really did, because I did everything. I did all the weird, bizarre things. But I did. I'm like, okay, God, there's got to be something that unlocks things energetically. And I found it. And Access Bars was sort of like that first step, and things were just sort of like unlocking. And when I started to create things, they actually actualized. They showed up, as opposed to this. Or like, it's kind of a little bit showing up, but then no. It's kind of a little bit showing up, then no. No, then it started to go kaboom, and then kaboom, and then kaboom. And I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. What else can I do? And so I started going through the advanced classes and receiving more and all this other stuff. And I don't know. And I was like, that very thing that I was aware of, I was like, wow, Access Consciousness was the first place that unlocked those places inside of me that I was not able to get to with any other modality that I had ever done up until that point. So it was pretty cool. And it's still changing, it's still evolving.
Yeah. Is that part of what you were aware of? Like, did you know somewhere that that's what was possible? Like you talked about like hitting the wall, like you knew it was possible to not have that wall there, but you couldn't, like all the things you're doing wouldn't take away that wall. Like you couldn't figure it out.
Well, yeah. Because the thing that I was aware of what was possible, I knew like in the deepest parts of me, we're going to be a contribution to the world. I just didn't know how. And every time I tried to do it, like through the different boxes that this reality presents you with, didn't work. I failed at it pretty much, or it just wasn't for me. You know what I mean? But I tried it. I like got my master's certifications and all these different things, and yet nothing. You know, it was weird. And maybe it just wasn't strong enough, or maybe I was that fucked up, you know, or a combination of all of it. And so, but yeah, it was that, because I knew, I'm like, I can't have. How is it possible to have this flame inside of you that you know that if you can bring it out to the world will change people's realities for the better? How can that just go to waste? And I did get to the point where I was like, okay, I'm just going to do these tools for my kids. I'm a lost cause because nothing's going to help me, you know? And it's amazing with the gift and the things that I've become aware of, because now what I've seen almost, and when I mean seen, I mean like energetically seen, it matches those things I was aware of when I was holding on to those little glimmers and slivers of hope back in the day, you know?
So, wow. This conversation itself, like energetically, I feel different. Like I've noticed a change. So thank you. And I want to invite people to know, one, that you actually do these sessions, right? These ASB sessions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So people could contact you. They get on Zoom with you.
Sure. Yeah. We could do remote sessions. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Or in person if you're lucky enough. And so this is something that, what is it like for you to work with someone? You're doing your sessions, you're working with someone on that energetic, that molecular level. What is that like for you?
Well, it's like I get to change those places in them that they haven't been able to change themselves with God knows how many books they've read and motivational seminars and all that. So I'm able to work with those things and unlock it so that they actually have more space, more communion, more ease. And so they could actually recognize, so much so that it's actually tangible, the possibilities, the infinite possibilities. And then, you know, then all of a sudden they have this space. Then a lot of people sometimes freak out because they're like, oh my God, I don't even know what to choose. There's just so many options. And then a lot of times they go, no. And I'm like, don't do that. I'm like, I'm uncomfortable for a little while. I'm like, but this is the space you've been asking for. It's like that blank canvas that you've been asking for. Now it's like, now you have to ask yourself, okay, what would I like to create now that the space is available? And what do I get to create? What do I have to choose now? And then you'll start to watch that canvas start to fill up with all sorts of things that maybe you didn't even know that were possible.
That's so beautiful.
And it can change at any time too. You could always redo it, which is nice.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So those of you that are new to Dr. Anthony Mattis, he does not just these sessions, he also is a 3D body facilitator, talk to the entities facilitator, X-Men facilitator, Access Consciousness certified facilitator. You do a lot. You offer a lot.
I'm like, lately, I'm like, I haven't been doing enough. Loser.
So please, if you want more with him, go check him out, engage with him. You're such a gift. My world changes every time I interact with you. So just thank you for being on the planet.
Likewise. Yeah, thank you. And you know what they say? They say, if you could see it in others, it's because you have it inside of you as well. So
Okay. Okay. So okay, we're already at 25 minutes in. We're gonna end the game or end the show with the game. But is there anything else that you would want to say that I haven't asked you about possibility or anything else?
No, I don't think so. It's really just other like what if like your very ask, like whatever you've asked for in life was actually like maybe even a limitation. Maybe your very ask isn't even enough. And so, yeah, so just consider that for a minute. And you know, for some reason, I don't know why this comes up, because I could perceive the excitement in people's worlds, but then I could also hear some people's heads go like, yeah, but you don't know what I'm in the middle of right now. You don't know the abusive relationship I'm in right now, or you don't know the abuse that I've had in the past. How can me possibly have that you know, and you may have that point of view right now, but I promise you that it is available to you. It's not just available to the select few. It's available to all of us. And no matter what you've been through, it doesn't have to be your future.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Woo. There's a lot of gratitude in the thread. People are really loving this conversation.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. All right. Shall we play our game?
Yeah. Yep. So
All
you
right.
ask me and then I ask you, or do I have to? I answer? You're right. Okay.
Well, I'll explain the game a little bit to the people so that they know. So this game is called speed dating. I've never actually done speed dating, although I thought it would be funny because I wouldn't take it seriously. Like, how could you take that seriously? But okay, so the game is speed dating. Here's how the game works. I'm going to set a 2-minute timer for each round, and we're going to take turns asking each other a set of questions to get to know each other on a deeper, sillier level. So Anthony gets to go first. So I'm going to ask you questions.
Okay.
I'm going to set my timer.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to get my questions here. All right. Are you ready, sir?
Yep.
All right. Timer going. So, Anthony, how would your friends describe you in one word?
Oh, boy. Deep is the first thing that comes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Mountain or beaches?
Mountain, for sure.
Oh. Yeah. What is something you want to change in the world?
Oh, the level of consciousness here.
Well said. Okay. What time in history would you have liked to have been born in, and why?
Oh, there's a bunch of them. Oh God, there's a bunch of them. You know, but I've always been fascinated with the 60s. It'd be cool to kind of be a hippie and kind of do that love, sex, and rock and roll stuff.
Nice. I love that. What is something that you love that most people don't?
Consciousness.
Good.
Yeah. I actually love digging deep within the depths of my being, and I'm willing to look at. I don't care how ugly it is about myself. I'm willing to go there. Most people aren't.
Wow. That probably
makes and I know that because like my friends would be like, dude, get away from me. You're so intense, you know? You're so deep. They're like, get away from me. You're driving me crazy, Mattis. You know? So
that's amazing.
I didn't realize. I thought everybody wanted to be like that. I thought everybody wanted to be apart and be like, hey, let's be like real with each other. Come on, it's fun. I didn't realize nobody likes that.
Well, I like it. Oh man, our timer went. I want to ask you one more. No, I love it. I love it. Okay, so I'm just gonna ask you one more. Okay, I'm cheating. So what's the most reckless thing you've ever done?
Reckless? Oh, Jesus. So many different things. Oh. How about just choosing the women that I've chosen? Where do you start? I mean, I met somebody over a drug-induced weekend and fell in major lust and chose to move to the area that she's from and start a business.
That's a good story.
And I struggled for fucking 20-something years.
Less of a good story now.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, but it was because of the recklessness. You know what I mean? It's like, that's what unconsciousness will get you.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Do you have questions for me?
Yes, I got questions for you. So,
yay!
Ready?
So I'm gonna start my timer. Go.
Yep, ready, go. So, what is your greatest success story for you, and what you've been able to facilitate in others?
Your questions are way better than my questions. That's a good one.
And we go to
judgment. Or acknowledgement, awareness. Okay, greatest success story for me was to like literally wake up every morning in such hatred of myself that I was disappointed that I still existed. To like waking up every morning like, what do I get to do today? Like, who do I get to talk to? Like, what do I get to create? And just like loving my life and myself in a completely, different way.
Beautiful. Wow.
Yeah.
I hope those people out there that feeling that way now, there's hope for you. So that's awesome. Yeah. Cool. Now, what was your greatest success story like what you facilitated in someone else?
Okay. Yeah, that's a great one. Wow.
What was the greatest joy?
The greatest joy? Okay. I get it's those times, and there's been a few, but where it's a similar story where they've been in this place of like, they do not get how great they are. Like they actually come in with this sense of like, I am worthless and I'm sorry that you have to deal with me. And to get them to like clearly go, oh my God, I'm not a piece of shit. Like, like they have that awareness, not that they believe it, I'll fake it till I make it, but they come to that, they know it now. That's been my greatest joy. Yeah.
Fun. Awesome. All right. What turns your body on?
Oh, the timer went
already. That was 2 minutes. Lame. I
talk too much.
Well, okay, 1 more minute.
I'm going to answer this. Question. So what turns my body on is, well, I'm going to be honest, a lot of things turn my body on. I'm kind of like a turned on person, like, but energy turns my body on. The earth turns my body on. Yeah. Like a sensuality and like, sensual touch. And oh my God, being around people that aren't judging. Like that just, Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. Awesome.
You have to answer that one. Can you answer that one?
Well,
everyone wants to know.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, everything you said, like the earth, certainly. I mean, I love traveling, going to different places, sensual touch, like you said, people who touch with like kind, caring energy. I'll tell you, when you like foodgasms, like, eating food that your body's actually asking for and having it just be delicious, and you have that like foodgasm and stuff. Wearing clothes that feel good on my body, but also look good, gosh, what else? And moving my body, you know what I mean? I love moving my body, and sex, of course, but it's not just about the actual act of doing it. It's more of like what you're able to contribute to someone and what they can contribute back. It's sort of like that, like, the magic that you can create together with someone through copulation.
That's so beautiful.
And that's fun.
Yeah. That's fun.
All right.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for watching. This was so fun. Yeah, this is awesome. Thank you. And we'll see you next time, guys, on The Greatest Show. I have to find my outro because my producer's not here. So thank you for bearing with me. And I adore you, Anthony. And thank you. And bye, everyone.
Bye.